Alrighty, I think I am live, and so I wanted to do this stream just as a bit of a change today. Basically, I've been making a lot of these recorded videos, editing the videos. It's been a lot of work, kind of grueling as well, just going through and cutting out bits and pieces, editing, all that kind of stuff, which isn't all that fun. And I thought maybe I'll try something different and make some of these videos live. And if there's anyone watching as well, leave a comment down below and just let me know how you're doing and whereabouts you're watching from as well. I didn't really expect that there'd be anyone here, but I basically just wanted to give this a try and yeah, talk through my top 15 most used flashlights. And I know for a lot of you out there, if you're into flashlights as much as I am, you know, you can never have too many. But when it comes down to it, really, if you've got about a couple, you know, one that you can use for an EDC short range and maybe one long range flashlight, you can pretty much get by with those two. But I'm going to go through my top 15, the ones that I pretty much use for around the house, when I go out on little trips, you know, for spotting, all that kind of stuff. So I'll go through the first one and I'll just move through each and kind of talk a little bit about them. So this one here is a light that I got from Nextorch, company Nextorch, and this was quite, I don't know how long ago. I think I got this over a year ago, and it's a headlamp. It's got a Osram P9 emitter in there, produces, I can't remember how many lumens, I think 1,600 lumens. But the great thing about this this headlamp, and why I just keep going back to it, is that it's so easy to use the switch. So you just basically turn the little rotating switch here in the head, and you can basically just get into all the modes. There's no buttons you need to press, anything like that. So I found when I'm using a lot of other headlamps in the dark, you know, I have to fiddle around with the buttons, and a lot of them are pretty easy. There's just one button, you go through all of them. But this one, I find being able to just rotate the head simple. Another advantage of this headlamp as well is because it's got quite a large bezel. So it allows me to get a decent amount of throw. So if you need to spot an object or just look a little bit further into the distance, this headlamp can handle it quite well. And I do get why a lot of companies use these smaller LEDs like Osram P9s in headlamps, because there's not a whole lot of heat sinking in them. And even if you look at this headlamp itself, the body is made of polycarbonate, but the head just underneath the little rotating switch there is made of aluminium. So yeah, there's not too much heat sinking material out there. But I always keep going back to this one time and time again. You know, I went out with a mate the other day and we did some beam shots, and yeah, easy, put that on the head. You know, it's got an 18650 cell as well, so it does last a decent amount of time. I do see a bunch of you on YouTube and on Facebook. If you're there watching, do say hi. Let me know down in the chats. Yeah, basically just I thought I'd just do this stream and go through my top 15 most used flashlights. Like I said in the start of the video, I've been editing so many of these videos and just been a bit tired of doing it. I wanted to try something different, and maybe this kind of format might be good for some of you as well, because then you can maybe ask me some questions live. I've got all kinds of lights with me. I've got 15 at the moment just on the desk, but I do have some others. Show you another sample that I got as well. So yeah, just it's good to meet some of you anyway. So we've got Mr. Thermistor. How you doing? Whereabouts are you watching from? Thanks for coming along. And we've got Kona Commuter, shout out from Australia. Sweet. Whereabouts are you? Which state are you from? I'm over in Melbourne, but I moved from Perth about 8 years ago. So yeah. Mr. says Workhorse TD01C. Yeah, I reviewed that one. Yeah, reviewed that one a while back. don't know, maybe I think last month I reviewed that. So I do have a video of that out. All meets, so yeah, just enlarge the screen a little bit. 4:20 a.m. Jeez, that is pretty early. Yeah, I thought around this time maybe I'd get some of you guys over in the States, and still even people in Australia, because you know it's I mean I tend to sleep pretty late. I need to sleep a bit earlier, to be honest, actually. Yeah, but I can't really get to sleep now, so I thought I'd run this stream, you know, do something productive rather than just whatever. But yeah, it's good to see a couple of you here. 10:20 p.m. here. Oh yeah, cool. Must be in Queensland or so, eh? And down there. Yeah, Queensland. Awesome. Mrs. the Missus says, yeah, lovely light. I've seen your videos too. It's great. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you like my videos, and yeah, if there's any questions you have about, you know, just any of these lights I have out today or anything else, just let me know. And I'll do my best to answer. I didn't plan this stream at all, so I don't even know if anyone's like, well, we've got a couple, like 4 people watching, but yeah, yeah, I think I'll get back into just talking about this light for a little bit. So like I was saying before, this is like the probably my most used headlamp, and you got to remember as well, I have so many of these lights now, and it's really funny because when I was about 16 to 17, I was collecting flashlights, just random lights off eBay, and there was a website called Deal Extreme. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it was like one of them cheap websites that you can just buy, you know, all kinds of lights, like crappy lights online. And back then I didn't have much money, and so I was working at Hungry Jack's, which is like Burger King or whatever for you guys in the States, and that's all I could afford. So I'd just buy all these lights. I remember my mum just always finding a new light in the mail, getting pissed off at me, just, you know, collecting all of them. So it's come a long way, and it's a big dream of mine, and I'm really happy to just feel really lucky to be able to review all these lights and get these samples, and yeah, just share them, even just talk about them. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, rotating head. It's got USB charging. One thing that's cool about this headband as well is that it doesn't have the top part. So I find that when you've got the top part, sometimes it can just constrict the head a little bit. Not a big deal. It actually adds a bit more grip, and it doesn't move around as much. But this has got, I don't know what they call it, I think like a Y grip. So when it slips onto the back of your head, let me put on now, I don't know. Mad in the middle of the night doing this, but you know, it grips onto the head very nicely, like the top and the bottom part of the band sort of support the head, the weight of the headband very nicely, the light very nicely, and doesn't fall off. So yeah, one of my favorites. Oh, here's another cool thing. You can take it out of the thing so easily as well. And that's another thing that really annoys me about some headlamps. They have them rubber straps there, and you have to just really wrench them out. And I mean, if you're using it as a headlamp, you're not really going to take it out anyway, to be honest with you. But it's cool that if you ever need to, you can do this sort of thing. And you know, I've actually used this several times as a work light. You know, sometimes you just can't get it to point in the right direction, or you're moving around, you just need to leave it behind, you can take it off. So the flexibility of that is amazing. Okay, it is a bit heavier. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. We've also got Bon KB Rasa. Hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming along and watching. Whereabouts are you watching from? And yeah, let me know as well, guys. What sort of lights you'd like me to see? What you'd like me to review on the channel? What are some of your favorite lights? You know, I try to reach out to companies and ask them for samples and stuff like that. Some of them I buy myself as well, but I've got so many at the moment. I think I've got about 150 of them. I give away quite a few of them as well to friends and yeah, just people, because obviously I don't need all of them. But Olight Arkfeld Pro, so Kona commuter. Speak of the devil. This is a sample that I got from Olight, and I made a video for them last time for the what do you call it? It's like that smaller one that looks like a hexagonal shape. The diffuse, yeah, the Olight diffuse. And a funny story, but I was meant to sort of hold back on that review or the posting of that for a while, but I accidentally posted it a little while behind in front of schedule, and so it was all. So I think it kind of annoyed them a little bit. Didn't talk to me for a while, but reached out again, and they sent me this one. And this is becoming this looks like one that I could potentially put in my top 15 as well. Now it's one that looks really weird, and you know, when you read about it, the specs and just read about it, it seems like a bit gimmicky. You know, it's got 3-in-1, it's got this magnetic charging, but the convenience of it, of just having this little dial, you've got basically the main light. You've got a laser here, laser pointer, and us in Australia, we get like a dulled down version where you get a less powerful version of this laser. I think you guys in the States get a 5 milliwatt one. I have 0.39 milliwatts, so it's nothing really. It's like if you're presenting at a, I don't know, presenting something to people in a PowerPoint slide, you need a point somewhere, but it's not going to be any good for you know, pointing out stars and stuff like that. It's also this UV light, 365 nanometer UV light. It doesn't have a filter for the UV. Zoom in with the camera a little bit. I don't want to. My streaming gear is a little bit finicky, and it's known to have like cut off. I do some like art streams on my other channel, but you can see here, you know, that 365 nanometer UV light. There's no filter, so it does produce a lot more visible light, but has some decent throw to it. I have to say, some decent throw. But I'll be reviewing this one soon on the channel. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little light. So let's go through the number 2. Kind of got distracted a little bit. So a second light that I use pretty often is this one here. It's the LED Lenser P6R Core QC, and this brand gets it's kind of divisive. I think some people hate them, some people like them. I think because they patent this zoomable technology, you know, they get a bit of flack for that because companies can't use this technology, so only LED lenses are able to use that. And this is a sample that I got from them a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago. And the thing I love about this light is that it's got 4 colors in it. You've got red. Let me just lower that brightness a bit. You've got red, white, blue, and you've got green. And you can just zoom in and out easily as well. Okay, so it's very versatile for all different kinds of situations. You can use the red and the green for at night. You don't want to disturb animals, or if you want to spot animals without them knowing that you can see them. Apparently they can't see those wavelengths of light. Of course, you've got your white and your blue here as well. Blue is for tracking fluids, so I believe blood will show up as black under blue. A few other things, a few other bodily fluids as well, chemicals maybe. I don't know all too much about that though. I just know that when you shine a particular wavelength of light onto a certain colored object, and it will reflect back as another color. So you can see here, that's when you turn it, it's really cool. I thought that there was some kind of anomaly with, like, they made a mistake with the construction of this light, but they've positioned it in such a way so that when you turn it, the LED that you want in the center of the beam, it sort of rotates that square board with the 4 LEDs on there to make sure that the LED that you want's right in the center. We didn't explain that so well, but cool little light. Would I have bought this light had I have not gotten it X3 as a sample. I don't know. I'm not sure, because there's a lot of other samples, a lot of other not samples, but alternatives out there. But they don't have this zoomable feature, which I think is really unique, and the ability to change the colors so easily as well. I've seen that Workhorse have a version also with 4 different colors, so these RGB colors, but you have to click through and press buttons and stuff. But this is just so intuitive. You know, to actually turn on the light, you just press that one switch on the back. Something I don't really like about this light is that it has this, what do you call it? This, you know, this battery tube thing here. Check this out. It still takes micro USB. So I hope they update that soon. That's not a huge deal for me, because I actually take the battery out itself, 18650, and just charge this thing up in a separate charge. I'm not even using a LED Lenser cell in here. I'm using another one, because I find that the cell that they gave with this light is only 2100 milliamp hours. So it's, yeah, it doesn't have much capacity. So yeah, chuck this one in here. It just runs a little bit better. I find I use this a lot around the house, and at night time especially. I've just put it on the red mode, okay? And the red mode is 620 nanometers. It's like a nice, warm, really red color. And I point this thing at the roof, and I turn off all the lights, especially if I'm about to go to sleep. You know, got a couple of hours before I go to sleep. I turn this thing on, and it kind of just calms me down a little bit. You know, if you guys know anything about red light, it's just something I've been reading about recently. I thought it was a bit of this kind of woo-woo kind of thing where, oh, red light, you know, it heals you and stuff like that. But apparently the army use it, the military use it to speed up wound healing. There's all kinds of interesting uses, and they've done scientific studies on it. So between 620 nanometers and 660 nanometers. There's also studies on near infrared light and infrared light that have therapeutic effects on things like healing skin, increasing collagen, its production, all kinds of interesting stuff. And yeah, so it seems to have some sort of, red light seems to have some sort of therapeutic effect. And yeah, been interested in that. But for me, I just turn it on at night, pointed at the roof ceiling bounce, and so that I have this kind of red light around me, and I feel a little bit more calm. You know, when you have too much blue light, and just not most of the lights that we have around and that are, you know, commonly around the house, fluorescent lights, they produce too much in the blue wavelength, and that can disrupt sleep. Okay, just having a look at the chats. We've got 7 people here. If you're watching, yeah, let me know what you're. Let me know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions. I've also got Stephen on Facebook. Darren, which flashlight is this? You're talking about this one, I'm guessing, Stephen. That's the LED Lenser P6R Core QC. This is a sample I got from LED Lenser about 1.5 years ago, and they are a bit pricey, these lights. I don't remember how much this one actually cost. I think it must be over $100 Australian. I'm not sure exactly how much it is. Okay, but it is a bit pricey, and you know, that's why I think a lot of people tend to just go for a better value option out there. But at the same time, I think for convenience sake, I mean, you've got the ability to change all the colors so easily without pressing a button, zoom in and out. You know, I don't know any other flashlight out there that has these two functions combined in one. And because they've got this patented technology for the zoomable lens, of course they're going to slap a higher price tag on that. So anyhow, yeah, I think I've talked enough about this one, eh? But I like it. I just use this one pretty often. Let's go to the next. I'll just have a look at the questions first and see what questions you guys have, and just some of the comments. It's good to see some of you. Yeah, it's Commuter. Kona Commuter says, I like LED Lenser. Yeah, I think are they a German company? I think they're a German company, aren't they? Based in Europe somewhere, but they manufacture their lights in China, as most companies do. Amazing flashlights, Bon KB Raza, and the underscore NMA says Arkfeld is a toy by the EDC 27 Nitecore. Yeah, I've heard about that one. What's that's probably got, does it have the 4000 lumen output? I've heard of that. I've got a few Nitecore flashlights and I've been pretty impressed with them so far. Kernel Community says I thought long and hard about Arkfeld Nitecore EDC, went with Arkfeld. Might get the Nitecore. Yeah, you know what? You you can't win. You can't win. You try to just get one, but you know, if it's if you're thinking about the other one and you can afford it, you know, life's short. Life's short. I mean, I've spent $100 on like a lot of dumb shit, and yeah. So if I spend on a flashlight, so be it. But yeah, it is still a lot of money to drop on a light. Okay. Yeah, it looks like not a big fan of the Arkfeld NMA. And you have 20 Olights, 12 Nitekores. Always reach for the Nitekores. Yeah. Look, you know, Olight, I think, are more targeting a mainstream audience. You know, with that magnetic charging, with all the lights and the easy, you know, being able to read the battery level very easily, step down, you know, conservative step down. You know, I think they're just targeting an audience where that maybe is people hiking or people general outdoors sort of, or people just looking for a torch around the house that's better than your general one that you get from Bunnings or down the store. Okay, question: what would be your end of the world torch? Oh, geez, that's a difficult question. My end of the world torch. It would have to be one that can take primary cells, and this is a thing. I don't really have many lights that can take primary cells. I reckon it might be a tactical flashlight that has an 18650 configuration, but an ability to take 2 CR123 cells. I'd say that would be something. A lot of these 21700 cell flashlights, unless they have one of those adapters, which some of them do have an adapter you can just slot in and then either drop in an 18650 or a CR123 cell, most of them are going to be useless in an end of the world situation. If you think about it, how are you going to charge up the thing? I mean, if you got a solar panel, maybe one of them portable solar panels, and you can, you know, attach it and charge up another battery and then charge a light off it. Yeah, you can do that. But yeah, I think a light that's pretty bright, you know, at least 1,000 lumens or so, at least 1,000 lumens, and can take primary cells, maybe a tactical function light as well. You know, that's my Nextorch TA30 Max, which is one, but again, it doesn't take those primary cells. But I want to go through the other ones. I've got through a couple of lights already. Do see a few people on Facebook. Let me know. Yeah, let me know if you're new here, and just leave a message in the chat. Just say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd like to hear. It would be cool to hear from some of you. So yeah, it's about nearly 12 o'clock here in Melbourne, but I can't really get to sleep, so I thought, yeah, I'll just, you know, do a stream. And so this is number three, the Convoy S8. And some of you might have heard of Convoy, some of you might not have. I'm not a flashlight snob at all. Like, I own so many different flashlights. Some of them that I have one that costs something like maybe $400 or $500. Ridiculous. Don't buy a light for that much. But I still reach for lights like this one here. This is the S8, which probably costs, I don't know, like $20. You probably get it for $20. And this is one, like a custom one from Simon, and he's put in a CSL-PM1F1, which is a green emitter. And this thing packs a serious punch. I think it throws, if I measured it correctly last time, I just got to think about what the measurement was. I think it was over 500 meters. you know, for a little 18650 flashlight like this, I mean, it's insane. And it fits in your pocket so easily. You know, it's cheap. If you break it, just buy another one. It's got a regulated driver, 5 amp linear driver in there. And I put on, some of you might recognize this clip. If you can recognize where I got this clip, let me know. But it's a deep carry clip, just snapped on. So it's kind of like Convoy's answer to a tail switch kind of tactical flashlight. I wouldn't call it a full tactical flashlight because it doesn't have momentary mode. The UI is a little bit complicated unless you switch it into other ones. Convoy is great because it comes with different modes that you can, UI configurations. So this one I've got, you turn it on and it goes straight to 100, and then I think to 30, 10, 1, and then 0.1%, and then it just cycles between all of them, turn off memory mode. But this thing just outperforms so many of my other lights that are 2, 3, 4 times the price in terms of throw, in terms of sustained output, and it's cost $20. You know, you can't get better than that, and the quality is fantastic as well for what you pay. And yeah, so what I was saying, yeah, the UI mode, you can change it to all different. So you can change it just so that it is on 100% all the time. And some of you want to make sure that whenever you turn on that light, if you might be using it in a scenario where you just have to make sure that it's on 100% full blast, it could be self-defense, it could be maybe you're in security or law enforcement or something like that, you just need that to go on 100%. You can change the UI, get in there and configure it so that it always hits 100% every time you turn on the light. You can configure it so that it, oh, nearly dropped it, so that it only goes into the lower modes. You can configure it so that there's a flashy bike mode, all kinds of things. So it's kind of like the enthusiast flashlight, but it's also suitable for beginners as well. Once you get around the learning curve of getting into the light and programming it, which is actually pretty simple. But yeah, one of my favorite hosts, and just the performance, the range, the throw that you get from a light of this size, incredible. It's got a 2 centimeter deep reflector in there, and yeah, so that's number 3. Geez, I'm taking a little while to get through these, but I did have a few things to say. Now this is the 4th one. This is I've got like mind blank at the moment. Come on, what's the brand of this one? Jeez, I really lost my train of thought. Raylight. So it's a Raylight Pineapple Mini, and it is a little titanium, like stonewash titanium light. And this one I got as a sample from Ray when I first started making flashlight videos. I think I only had about 300 subscribers back then, and I was buying most of my lights, and I just reached out to him, and he was nice enough to send me one of these. I was so lucky to get one because I think they're quite difficult to, he makes them in limited batches or stuff like that. But this is like a little AAA cell flashlight. I've got in here an Eneloop flashlight, Eneloop cell. And for those of you who like are looking for not alkaline, but nickel metal hydride cells, rechargeable cells, these are like the best ones you can buy. Get these because you can recharge them, I think, over 1,000 times without losing any significant capacity from them. They don't leak. They're just excellent batteries. So I just have one of those in there, and I use this around the house all the time because it doesn't produce a lot of light. It's actually on now. It's like on point, like 1 lumen maybe, half press to go through the different modes. You can get in and program things as well. I believe you can turn on and off memory mode. There's another mode in there, but it's pretty simple. Just turn it on, half press to switch the different modes. It's got this nice deep carry clip. It looks super cool, kind of like rustic, and this is the stone wash titanium version, and I opted for this one because I don't baby my lights, and if I drop it, I don't when you have normal anodized light, you're going to get chips and things like that. It just starts looking ratty after a while. But this one, I've dropped it a few times on brick, just on the ground, and it's fine. I can't even see where I've nearly dropped it again. Little tritium slot here in the back. So if you're looking for something, it's not necessarily a super powerful light. But it does get up to, I think, 600, 700 lumens. Pretty decent for a little tripway cell light like this. So yeah, and Raylight, the guy that runs it, his name is Ray. I think his name is Ray. But he has a lot of good reviews online. People seem to trust him, and that, I think, that goes a long way. When you have a community that backs a smaller company like this. He seems very responsive to his customers. Yeah. This is the only Raylight I have. Now, I would buy more, but I've got so many. Like these days, I really can't justify getting another light unless I really, really, really want it. But there's so many out there. Nichia 519A, it's got a high CRI LED as well. So it comes with one of these, and high CRI LEDs are important if you use them in a job or in a situation where you need to recognize colors very well. So you'll find that a lot of the other, like Osram P9s and stuff, they don't produce the entire spectrum, or the entire spectrum of the colors that consist of white. So basically, I don't really know exactly how to explain it, but yeah, you're not going to be able to recognize colors so well with a low CRI light. I don't know if you're maybe working, in the arts industry, or yeah. But for me, I'm actually red-green colorblind. I mean, I can tell the difference between high CRI and low CRI LEDs when I'm looking at stuff, but it's doesn't seem as big of a difference to me when compared to someone else that has kind of like normal vision. Yeah, Matt, looks like you seem to be pretty happy with Convoy as well. Yeah, super responsive with questions. Yeah, I just like how Simon provides these lights at such a fair price to everyone out there, and I mean, just at that price point, it's unbeatable. It's unbeatable for the performance as well. You can see some of these Convoy lights outperform lights just many times their price. Even if there were 2 times the price as they are now, I'd say they'd still be worth buying. The only thing with Convoy is I think it can be difficult. I don't think he offers warranty on a lot of lights. So, but yeah, like what I've heard, same with you, Matt, is that if there's any issue with the lights, you can just message him and he'll do his best to figure out some type of solution, whether it be sending a new LED to you, a replacement part, or something like that. The NMA, thank you for this super chat. Appreciate it, really appreciate it. Says thanks for the reviews, Darren. Useful information for us enthusiasts. Yep. Yeah, thank you for coming along, and really appreciate the super chat. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So there's a few more. I might go a little bit faster. Now, this is the Wuben X3. I've had this one out. Don't know how long I've had this, or just basically when it was released. Another sample that I got. Cool little light, because it does pretty much everything you can think of in a little EDC flashlight. So you've got this normal mode here, just with the white light. It's high CRI. I'm pretty sure it's a high CRI white in there. You've got a red mode as well, and this one here is actually deep red, 660 nanometers. When I compare it to my LED lenses, 620 nanometers, this really looks like a proper deep red color. It's got a rotating head, so you can angle it this way, you can angle it that way. There's a couple of magnets here. You can stick it onto stuff to use as a work light. Battery indicator, little LCD display. I mean, and of course, it comes with this case that charges the light wirelessly. So you pop it in there, and it basically just charges the battery. You press the button down below. You can also charge it using your phone. So if your phone has reverse charging, you can just stick it on the back and charge it. So yeah, it's a nice little light. My only criticism of it is that it steps down very quickly and it gets hot very quickly as well, because there's not much heat sinking. As you can see, only the head is made of aluminium. I've got the one that's glow in the dark, which is, I think it's really useful to have that feature. Yeah, sort of find it. There's also, can't remember how to do it, but you can activate these auxiliary LEDs. Oh, here we go. I think I did it. These little auxiliary LEDs looks really cool. If I got the red and the blue on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You sometimes forget these UI thingos. But yeah, it's a nice little one. I use this one around the house as well. I use the red LED, sometimes just pointed at the roof. Use it as a general light at night time for that reason, because I don't want to use too sort of bright lights at night. So yeah, that's another. I'm going to go through a couple more of my smaller lights. Now this one here is the E7. The E8, the Wuben E8. And one of the first Wubens I got. And the cool thing about this light is it allows you to stick another cell in here. I don't know any other keychain lights that allow you to do that. You know, you often get these lithium polymer batteries in there, and they basically, once they die, they die. So this one allows you to just put in a secondary cell, which then actually makes it viable to use on a small trip, even as a tent light, you know, EDC light, carry along in your pocket. But I clip this one onto my bag, and you wouldn't believe how many times this thing has come in handy. You know, I ride a bike, a scooter as well around the city, and I'll clip this onto my hat, onto my helmet. And when I'm out doing beam shots, or maybe I'm just out and about, and I don't have any other lights on me, you can use this as a makeshift headlamp, and it's actually pretty bright. I can't remember what the lumen output is, but I believe it's close to 1,000 lumens. I believe it's close to 1,000 lumens on the highest mode, which is pretty impressive for a little light like this. Of course, it does ramp down quickly. I've got to figure out again oh, here we go. Yeah, I think it's one press, 2 presses. Oh shit, out of myself. So the red one, flashy, and 1, 2, 3 for the UV. It's got a proper 365 nanometer UV LED in there as well, which is really good. Produces less visible light. See, a lot of companies use 395 nanometer LEDs, UV LEDs, and the problem with that, too much visible light, too much visible sort of violet light, and you don't get that strong fluorescing effect that you get with the 365 nanometers. So yeah, I really prefer that one, but it's more expensive, and I think that's why companies use the 395. They're just common out there. But yeah, those auxiliary lights are great, and especially the fact that it's got like a lower white LED mode in there as well. You can really prolong that battery life. You know, just use that one if that's all you need. I like how they've separated out the functions. But yeah, it's a great all-in-one keychain light, EDC light, potential. You know, I've used it as a makeshift headlamp as well. And I love this thing. I use it very often. It's funny that most of the lights I use, even though I've got so many of them, I end up just using the smaller ones most of the time. Okay, let's go on to the next one. How are we all doing? What time is it for you guys? It must be getting late for a few of you. But thank you for coming along. Kind of very unplanned. Here's the next one. This is the Wuben Knight X0. And the Knight X0 is part of Wuben's X range. They've released these new lights that I really love, because prior to that, a lot of the Wuben lights that were released prior, I don't think they were anything special. They had I mean, they were good value. So C2, the C3, typical tube style flashlight, but the X series that they've released, they've really taken steps to design something that's quite unique. Look at it. I've never seen a light like this. It doesn't even look like a light to me. It looks like something from a science fiction movie. You know those, I always thought they look like those little robots that follow you around in Half-Life 2. So you got a few tritium spots, but it's got a high CRI LED in there. Unlock it. I believe this is the Samsung LH351D or Nichia 519A. I can't remember. High CRI LED. Ramp up through the modes. Nice sort of fading in and out as well when you go into the high mode, which is great. You also have the ability to program each mode. So you can be in the low mode and you can press hold. See how it's getting brighter and it will flash. So you can program it so that it remembers that as your low mode. Or if it's too bright, you can program it so that it's lower. And you can do this with all the 3 modes, which is pretty cool. Micro arc oxidation. I've got one also in copper. You can get the normal one in aluminium too. And aluminium, you know, you can't go wrong with aluminium. It's light, great for heat dissipation. Normally companies don't charge as much for the aluminium version as well. It's just cheaper to manufacture. Ace King from Midwest USA, 6:55 a.m. Oh, sweet, yeah, it's 12 a.m. here in Melbourne. I find if I stream in the middle of the day, like 12 p.m. for me, like barely anyone actually catches it because you guys are all asleep. People in Melbourne are out doing better things. So thank you for coming along, especially it's quite early, 7 a.m. It's pretty early. Dylan, how you doing, Dylan? Dylan's one of my members, the only member actually on the channel, so I really appreciate it. How you doing, Dylan? We've got Azor says, absolutely love my X0, never leaves my side. Yeah, it's a nice one. And that's a good point with the clip. I wish the clip was more forgiving. That's what you're saying. This clip, normally they make these clips out of steel, but I'm pretty sure this one is made out of aluminium. Yeah, it doesn't give much. You really got to pull it. I'm pretty sure it's aluminium. I don't think it's titanium. Yeah, maybe some type of aluminium alloy. I don't know if it's the same stuff as they use on the body. It is strong though. Like I have used this to clip onto bags and really just been quite rough with it. So it works, but yeah, it doesn't bend much, as you can see. What was something else? I was going to say something else as well, but I've forgotten. Yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, you can't replace the battery easily. You can replace the battery though. It takes a 18350 battery. You got to. I've just improvised. I don't have proper. I don't know what you call them, like tweezers that you stick them in there and it doesn't damage the light. I just used a pair of pliers and just, brute forced my way into this thing by putting the 2 needle-nosed edges there to turn it. You can open it up, but they do have an E7, another light called the E7 that allows you to open it and stick in your change the battery very easily as well. But yeah, apart from that, great light. It can be a little slightly awkward in the pocket. It's very light though. So I do recommend you get the aluminium version, the brass version. I've got the brass version. Either get the titanium or the aluminium version if you are EDCing this thing around, because the brass one's too heavy. I've tried and it's just, it feels like I'm carrying a bloody rock in my pocket. But yeah, it's an unusual sort of size, but it's shape, but it's still comfortable to keep in your pocket if you're going for the lighter versions like this. Okay, Dylan says, today I asked SoFern if they sell extra 32650 batteries. They said they can't send those batteries apart and just decided to send me a free IF30 with it. Oh my god. Win. So they're gonna send you another IF30. That's amazing. So you get another IF30 plus the battery. What you gonna do with the other one? You should definitely start another your own YouTube channel, Dylan. Give it a go. Like, make some videos. Just record some videos on your phone and get them out. But yeah, that's a decent little win. And we took the IF30, the Sophone IF30. I reviewed that a while ago. The stock cell, it isn't the best. It's rated at 6.5 amps apparently. This is just what I've read on Budget Light Forum, a few other places. But the light draws in excess of 30 amps, so I don't think it's a good idea to use that battery. So I use Molicel P42B, I think, fine as well. High draw rating at 45 amps, so a lot safer to use that 21700 cell. It's a fantastic light, but just wish they just used a better battery with it. The only thing that really lets it down. Even if they just gone with the 3x 18650 configuration or 21700 configuration. Oh, great. So you still have to pay a little bit for it. I hope they don't charge you any import taxes, Dylan. I know you're telling me about your last one, the last light that you got, you had to pay a decent amount of import taxes. That's robbery. We don't have to pay anything here in Australia. Yeah, I haven't paid anything anyway. Order stuff online all the time. Apparently, some of you guys in the UK have to pay some pretty heavy taxes as well on even just a personal light that you buy. That's absurd. I don't know. Getting too much into our personal business. Okay, next light. This is the Convoy S2 Plus, and a lot of you probably have seen or may have heard of this light. It's just such a beautiful minimalist design and comes with a whole bunch of emitters. This is the classic Convoy, the quintessential light that if you're just getting into lights and have learned about Convoy, I reckon get one of these first. They're cheap. I think they're one of the cheapest lights out there, but they're just such great value. They got a copper pill in there. Mine comes with a Nichia 519A LED. I de-domed it so that it has some extra throw. Orange peel reflector, micro arc oxidation version, but the aluminium version with just hard anodizing is great as well. Got one of those. Takes an 18650 cell. The only issue is that if you're a beginner and you're getting into lights, how are you going to charge this cell? Yeah, you're going to need an external charger, or what I did in the beginning was that I had a few other Wuben flashlights and I just would pull the battery out and put it in that light, charge it, swap the battery back in, then you're done. You know, you can use the light as the charger itself. But now I've got another charger, this one here. Check it out. Check out this monster. The new one I got recently, X-Tar BC8S. This thing charges everything. Takes 26800 cells as well. Then it made a review of this one out on the channel too. But yeah, what was I going with this one? The S2 Plus. It's just such great value. You get a regulated light. Mine's got a 5 amp driver in there. Comes with a lanyard, and it's just your go-to light for pretty much everything. I keep this as my bedside light, and it's a pretty warm beam. I think 2700K version. I wish it came with a clip. You can buy a clip separately. It doesn't come with a clip. So if you're going to EDC this thing around, yeah, you got to buy the clip separately, but it's only a couple bucks. So put a couple dollars extra and you get the clip. But you know what? I also just other clips, so like this one here, I can pull those off other lights and just kind of force it onto the back of the light as well. It doesn't really look great, but it works. Well, that's another option. But yeah, it's great because everything you can disassemble without much effort, get into the pill very easily. A couple of some tweezers or pliers to open that up and mod the light very easily. That's how I sort of got in and de-domed the LED myself. I'm not a huge, I don't know much about modifying lights. I'm getting into it slowly. My mate Tim McMahon, you can check out his channel. Just search Tim McMahon Flashlight on YouTube. He does a lot of this kind of stuff. He's like super smart. Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, if you have questions while I'm talking about these lights, just let me know as well, because I sometimes I don't know if I'm really talking about the right stuff that you want to hear about. TJ, how you going, TJ from the US? Good to see you. Yeah, how did you find my channel? And Dylan says, if the IF30 rotary switch got all my fingertips messed up after playing with it. Yeah, it's kind of like a good little fidget toy thing, isn't it? And yeah, it reminds me a lot of some of those, like even the Olight. They use a button that's actually quite similar to that one. But you know, with my X0, I'm always doing this kind of thing. You know, like people with their Zippo lighters and stuff like that, just flicking the lid off. Yeah. Some of those lights that are just good to play around with. Okay, let's have a look. What else? I'm still going through some of the small lights. I'm going through the more larger lights as well later. So some of you may be surprised. I've got the Workhorse FC12 here, and you know, like I said, I'm not a flashlight snob or anything. This, you know, I've got flashlights of different prices and different ranges and that kind of thing. But this was, and it still is, one of my favorite value budget flashlights, tactical flashlights out there. It's really thin. It's thinner than most of my, pretty much all of my 18650 tactical flashlights. I keep this one in my bag. I've got just a normal backpack that I carry around with me all the time. And it's just so light, but it packs a decent punch. I mean, it's rated, I think, at 2000 lumens, SFT40 in there. It's got a proper momentary switch, so you can half press to get to turbo. Onboard charging, you know, it's not going to break the bank as well. I can't remember how much these are. I think they're about $30. They're about $30, but don't quote me on that. But if you lose it, you know, you're not going to be crying, essentially. But it's a great all-purpose kind of throwy light, tactical light, especially if you're not sure whether you whether you like tactical flashlights or not, and you're just looking to maybe get one to try out, something that's, you know, lower priced but still presents good value and good quality. The FC12 is, I would say, a great buy. You know, I love this thing, you know, and it was probably one of the only flashlight that got me into throwy lights, because before that I was just playing around with a lot of side switch flashlights like the Sofern IF25A, yeah, a couple of the Convoy lights. But when I turned this one on, I was thinking, geez, this is incredible. The throw on it, the intensity of that hotspot got me hooked, and I was like, I'm onto something here. So I keep this one all the time in my bag. I've used this out. I've used it on the beach at night. I've used it attached to my scooter. I use this when I'm out taking beam shots as well, just as like a little work light on the side. Great value. Let's have a look. There's a few more chats in here as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up to see where I'm at from in the chats. You guys are great, keeping me busy. Kona Commuter says, found your channel because I spent hours upon hours trying to work out what my next torch was going to be. Then YouTube suggested this video. Wow, that's awesome. I feel really lucky that I have anyone even watching along today. And if I can help out in any way, let me know. I don't think that I'm expert at all on flashlights. I'm a hobbyist. and I'm learning every day about this. I'm not a super technical person with lights. I know enough to get by and help people out, but always do my best. And if I'm not sure about something, I'll just say I'm not sure, and I'll find out or try to learn. Matt 133 AceBeam Rider RX best to fidget with. Heard of that light? Is that the kind of multicolored one? Dylan says I found it while coming across a podcast from Flashlight Crazy. Yeah, I did a little recording with him. This was like a year ago, and we just set up a camera and talked about lights, which is really cool. Like I don't really know many people in Melbourne, like where I live in Melbourne, that actually are into flashlights or like have a flashlight channel. There's lots of outdoor sort of channels and stuff like that, but my channel is too small to really, I think, for them to really even bother collaborating with me. A lot of those larger outdoors channels, I didn't know where this was going to go anywhere, but it's turning out to be like a pretty cool little side hustle. And yeah, if any of you guys out there are thinking of starting your own flashlight channel or something like that, and you need some help and you want to know how to do it, just reach out to me and I'll help you out, answer questions, because I kind of went through a lot of hit and miss stuff, tried a lot of things. Just in learning to create like better thumbnails and like edit better and stuff like that. Q8 plus D4K on top, static. Dylan says, went to explore cave once. Guide said he never saw the cave so bright and saw things he didn't see before. That's like a flashlight enthusiast dream, isn't it? Like when either like a blackout on the streets or something like that, where all the street lights go out, or you're in a cave where there's absolutely no light, so you can just see that the light work completely without any ambient light. Kona Communis Night, you got a Nitecore EC4 GT. Beam is 500 meters throw. That's impressive. Heavy. Let me down in the middle of the bush. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, when you have lights that are heavy, it may, you think to yourself, oh, this light throws a kilometer or whatever. That's awesome. I'm going to get it. But in reality, you really end up carrying around torches that are lighter. I do anyway, unless I've got I'm carrying around a proper bag or I'm planning to go out somewhere. I just carry around usually an 18650 flashlight that's got the best amount of throw on it. Mau says, saw you got the baby Sophon with the Fresnel lens. Get you one of those SC32 High Zero, the same lens. Yes, you're right. Yeah, the SC32 has the same lens. Yep. And that's probably one of the smallest 18650 flashlights I have. So if you guys haven't checked that one out, it's the Sophon SC32, probably one of the smallest 18650 lights I have. The only thing with that light though is that it steps down too much. Like it steps down to about 20% of its output after once turbo steps down. So if you're happy with that, go for it. You find that a lot of these budget lights, they will end up stepping down. They're just not able to hold the output very well. But that's what you get. That's what you get with the price tag. It's such good value still. Okay. Matt says, waiting for a blackout so I can justify all my lights to my wife. Yeah. And then you can be, look, I told you so. You know what? Like guys in the Philippines, if anyone from the Philippines is watching, you guys are really into your lights. Like you guys are serious about them. There's one dude I watch, I think his name is Ray Dulce or something, and he showed like a photo of all his lights, and his whole friggin' house is just filled with lights. I put a lot of mine back in the boxes or store them away, but he's got shelves, he's got bookshelves, and the lights are like on the bookshelf, they're on his kitchen table. It's madness. And they're not just small lights either, like the Q8 Convoy Sophon Q8, just these big lights. What are you doing, man? Have you tried the MT2A Pro? Speaking of lightweight and powerful. No, I haven't. What's that? MT2A. What brand is that? don't know. Matt says RX comes, Rider RX comes in different colors. Yep. Yeah, I've only seen the rainbow, whatever the kind of, you know, that finish, that titanium finish where they use some type of heat anodizing. Does anyone know about that as well? I don't know too much about heat anodization on titanium. Does it actually form a protective layer on it, or does it just change the color when you apply heat to titanium? I know at different temperatures it changes the color of the titanium, but I'm not sure if it actually forms a protective layer. You know, yeah, if it actually has a practical benefit to it. Let me know if you know a little bit about that. Nitecore, okay, Nitecore MT2A. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I haven't heard of it before. Nitecore have been releasing some pretty interesting lights recently. They've released, you know, the EDC33 and the, geez, what's the other one? It's the upgrade of this light I have, MH12 Pro, and they have kind of like a round diameter, one of their painted to emitters, and produces a lot of output, like 4,000 lumens for a round diameter, which is much more easier to focus as well. Creates a nicer hotspot, more intense hotspot. So let me just show you this new one. You know, going back to J Batman Harper talking about PD35. Now this is not the PD35. It is the PD35R. But I do have the PD35 as well over here. That's the Phoenix PD35 up the top, and the bottom PD35R. And look, why do I prefer the PD35R? Well, it's more of a personal thing, but it just feels like more of a proper tactical flashlight. Now, both of these are tactical flashlights in my opinion. Like, some people say that because of there's a side switch, it's not a tactical flashlight because you could accidentally activate a lower mode. Very true, very true. But with this, with the Phoenix lights, you can't activate the side switch without the tail switch, and I think it's very unlikely you activate the tail switch and accidentally hit that when you're holding it at the back. Okay, I like the look of the PD35 better, the PD35 3.0. It just, the button looks awesome. And I don't know, it just feels a bit more put together. There's also no USB charging on it. I don't know what they were thinking here, but it's almost like, you know, with a lot of, you know, proper tactical flashlights, as they say, they don't have a USB port, so it can be a point of weakness. You know, you hit the port somewhere and it breaks, damages the light internally, border can get inside. The good thing about this, the PD35R, what is it? Yeah, P35R, is that it has water, the actual port is waterproofed, so even if the thing snaps off, the little, which really isn't much, just a little bit of rubber there snaps off, you're still going to get protection. But of course, physical protection, if you drop the light on a rock and it hits the USB port, and I don't know, transfers a bit of that shock through the driver, could be an issue. Don't know. I don't really use my lights for any like super serious purposes, guys. Like, I'm just a hobbyist. You know, some of you may actually rely on these lights for your job, but I really love these Phoenix lights because firstly, they look $1 million. I mean, they're just, the finish on it is incredible. I'm not usually a fan of these glossy finishes. They're just slippery, which it is slippery, but the knurling is good. But it's just so uniformly applied. I mean, if you look at the construction, the grade of the construction quality in it as well, real closely at the little machining and bits like that, there's just no flaws. I have found though that the anodizing is probably not as durable as I'd hoped it to be. Bunch of little chips here. I've used this one a lot more than the 35, obviously. But 18650 lights, they throw over 300 meters. Look how small these things are. So these are I carry either that one or that one on me all the time, but normally the PD35R. Taken a clip from another light, my Olight Warrior 3S. Chucked it on here because it's like a deep carry clip. Prefer that. Yeah, you've got access to turbo from the back, little battery indicator. And there's also one step strobe, second button here at the bottom, this little button. Press that and you get access to strobe. So yeah, love this light. Phoenix, I believe, offer they offer a lifetime warranty on their lights as well. And Adam from liteshop.com.au, he owns one of the biggest flashlight stores in Australia. He says that he gets almost no warranty claims from Phoenix, just showing that they're very reliable lights. The Phoenix tend to have to adopt a more conservative style in their lights. When you compare them to companies like Nitecore, they're pumping out 4,000 lumens in the tiny little light, 4,000 lumens, bang, But is that gonna reduce the lifespan of the light? Don't know. Maybe. But yeah, one of my favorites. One of my favorite tactical flashlights of the 18650. I tend to carry around, if I'm looking at tactical flashlights, I tend to carry these ones around in my pocket, either the Convoy S8, which, some of you might think it's not a proper tactical flashlight, and you'd be right. I just kind of think of it as one, because it's got a tail switch and it goes on 100% all the time, because I set it to that, or this one. But the Convoy is just a little bit smaller, as you can see. Yeah. Okay, just have a look at the chats. How you guys all doing? J Twig's asking what time is it in Australia right now. It's 12:22. J Twig, I need to get to sleep soon, but I want to go through these last few lights that I have up here. Just going through my top 15 most used flashlights. I couldn't get to sleep before, and I thought I wanted to do a stream. I've been so sick of editing videos, man. I'm the only person doing it. I don't have anyone helping me for this. It's just me, and I started off, just uploading really basic videos. I didn't really put much thought into what I talk about. Now I'm starting to put down little notes in each section, script parts of it, just to make sure that I cover all that I need to cover in reviews. Because some of the criticism I got initially was that I just wasn't going into enough detail. I didn't do any tests, so I've been doing them more now. But yeah, I want to do this stream to see how it will work, whether you guys actually like this format or not. And that way, if you have particular questions or lights that you want me to go through and potentially review, I can just chuck up a stream and go from there. Because I actually, believe it or not, I'm not a fan of editing videos, but I've learned to sort of tolerate it. You kind of have to. Let's have a look. I'm just having a quick look at the chats. If there's any questions, your PD35 has a different switch at the top. Mine is a grey rectangle shape. Maybe you got a newer version than me, or do you have the PD35? A different, the 2.0 version or something like that. I'm pretty sure there's a previous version. Okay, going through, just having a look. Right, and MAU says, finally a stream I can join. The guys in the US are too far in the time zone. Yeah, I'm doing this one especially around this time because I thought some of you guys in the States would be here. Yeah, and also, like, I have a group. I made a group on Facebook. Let me just add it in here. If you guys want to, because I know some people like to meet up and get to know each other. And that's how I actually met a couple of mates here in Melbourne that are into lights. So I'll put the group in here. In the chats. Hang on. Flashlight fanatics. And you can I don't know if you can actually click that link. I don't know. But yeah, you can join that group and actually chat to each other through your accounts there. Make some friends, all that good stuff. JTwig says, like your ceiling bounce testing, actual output of lights is interesting. Yeah, I don't do any lumen tube tests. I have to make a lumen tube for one. And no one's really said anything about, no one's actually said anything about, oh, you need to get a proper lumen tube. I've never had anyone in the channel say that. So I've just thought, well, I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. And there's an app that I use. It's called the Ceiling Bounce Ceiling Bounce app, Ceiling Bounce test app. It's by a guy called Zach something. I was going to say Zach Wild, but I'm pretty sure that's like a Rockstar or something. Zach something. But just search it and you can download it onto your phone. You can actually measure relative output of lights quite easily with it. As an Aussie in Saigon, it's nice to hear an Aussie accent for once. Wow, are you there on holidays, or you reallocated there, or did you? Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your story. I have a few mates that have like just reallocated over to Asia because of the whole cost of living, crap that's going on here in Melbourne. I don't know in Australia. I don't know if you guys in the States. I have this sort of experiencing something similar, but housing, everything's pretty expensive, just going up in price. And so some of my mates have just reconsidered, and a couple of them have gone over to, like, I've got one that lives in Bali, another one that lives in Thailand, and they have like online, one of them has an online business, and he doesn't earn a whole lot from it, but it's enough to get a decent place over there, and he just seems to hang out and have fun and is living the life over there. I'm actually quite jealous of him. Anyway, look, let's talk about this next light here. This is the Convoy M21B. And the M21B, I tell you what, this is another like awesome little light that Convoy sell for very little. I think it only costs a little bit more than the Convoy S2 Plus. Okay, this is a 21700 cell light, and I would say it's a tactical style light because it's got the tail switch. You can program it to always hit 100% mode on switch on. This is a type of tactical style light. If you want pretty much a lot of throw, heaps of throw, and a thinness, and still a decent enough profile that you can carry this in your pocket. Now, it's not the most comfortable light to carry in your pocket, especially if you're wearing jeans. Unless you've got some baggy jeans on, you definitely can feel this one in your pocket. But God, it's bright. It throws a ridiculous amount of distance. I mean, this one's got a CSL PM1 F1 in it. I think it throws close to 1 kilometer. I don't know any other light of this size that can throw that far. Incredible candela. So whether you're using it for spotting, hunting, whether you're using it as self-defense, just as a general light, I wouldn't call this like a walking light, really. It wouldn't be the first one I'll pick up. Candela's just too high unless you lower it down a bit, but then you lose a lot of the spill. But that's the thing with lights. It's very difficult to get an all-in-one flashlight, and even when you do have an all-in-one flashlight, there are still some compromises that you have to contend with, but they're getting better. They're certainly getting better. And one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing is LEP flashlights get cheaper. The LEP technology, from what I've read, it's very efficient. The conversion of that blue laser light into visible light, because lasers consume very little energy, right? So if you're able to produce laser and just get more output from that, even after the conversion into lumens or visible light, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? But one thing I've heard about LEP lights, you do have to be careful with the shine-through modules. These shine-through modules have a bit of phosphor, and the laser shining through the phosphor, if the phosphor starts to, degrade or something, then the blue laser can potentially just come through, and it's dangerous. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on with LEP flashlights. Some people think that they might be the future of flashlights, and we might all be carrying around lights that are the size of my thumb here, that can throw 5 kilometers, and I don't know, probably not, but at least 1 kilometer, and have decent amount of spill as well. But LEPs at the moment are very expensive, and I wouldn't really recommend them unless you just have a crazy urge to just get a super throwy flashlight.
I had that urge myself. But I did get mine as samples, free samples from Nextorch. I only have LEP lights from Nextorch. But I have seen a lot of other LEP flashlights. Kona Commuter, I think you're heading off. All right, good night. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining. Just having a look. What else? Other chats. I'm blabbing a lot here. I hope some of this stuff is actually useful for you. You are hanging. I see some bunch of you hanging around, which is good. Holidays. Oh, you're on holidays in Saigon. Lying if I haven't thought about reallocating. Yeah, look, the cost, it's expensive in Australia, and an average apartment that you're renting in Melbourne, it's costing us about 2,000 Australian. I think it's about the same for you guys in the States, in major cities, right? 2,000 US a month for rent. It's ridiculous. And a lot of people are thinking, well, you know, what's the point? What's the point when I can live overseas and enjoy my life and work less? But the thing is also you have to find either a remote job or have enough savings and find a job there, or start a side hustle or business. And if you've got a side hustle and if you're reallocating to Asia, you don't really need all that much money. Even if you got if you bring in about $1,000 a month, which is actually a lot of work. If you're running if you're running a small business, like small side hustle, it takes so long to get it off the road. But yeah, I've also had thoughts about that too, actually. Let's have a look. What else do we have here? Just Matt says people trying to sell 300k houses here for almost $1 million. Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And but you're taking out loans, you know, that you're gonna be paying off for the next 40 years. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. How are you gonna live your life? Something's got to give. And if it doesn't, people are just gonna kind of check out. Okay. Yeah, BJ O-Wing says Convoy lights are hard to beat for the price and for mod friendly. Yeah, and the M21B, yeah, really recommend this one, guys, if you are looking for like a long range flashlight, long range kind of thrower. Now remember, you can get different LEDs in this as well. So if you don't, even if you just want a really good 21700 cell, regulated 21700 cell flashlight on the cheap, this is like $30, maybe 25, $30 last time I checked. Get an XHP 50.3 in there, produces tons of spill, even an SFT40. I mean, you can't beat it. You just can't beat that price. There's nothing out there that can compete with it. Okay, the only thing with Convoy is that it doesn't have an onboard charging port. So as a beginner, that's might be a deal breaker for you. Get an external charger. They don't cost much, but that's one of the things with Convoy. Some of their lights do have onboard charging. You can look at them as well. I can't remember the names. I think it's the M21E. That's one. Yeah, so J Batman Harper says, don't have any LEP lights. Would this one be a good first recommendation? Recommendation for LEP lights. I'm not an expert on LEP lights. I've got a couple from Nextorch. I can just pull them out, show you. So these are some of my LEP lights. They're a bit pricey, these Nextorch lights, and the beam is just so intense. There's basically no spill. But this thing throws a beam like 1.3, 1.4 kilometers. Okay, and they have these lenses in there. You can see these like glass lenses that focus the beam and eliminate any sort of spill as well. Okay, but yeah, in terms of recommendations, I can say these are fantastic, the T10L and the T20L. There's also Welltool do some a lot of LEP flashlights. I think they might have been the first to actually come up with an LEP, a mass LEP flashlight, mass manufactured LEP flashlight. I'm just thinking of like ones that are good value LEP flashlights. If I was to recommend, it's Mate Minco. You might want to check out Mate Minco. The FW something, W1 maybe. I'm just thinking. Yeah, I'm not a huge expert on LEP flashlights. Like honestly don't have too many of them. Yeah, and they're expensive. You're thinking about like $200-300 minimum. There are a couple. I believe there's a budget one. There's a budget one that you can get for about 150. But I wouldn't bother. If you're spending that much, you might as well spend a little bit more and get the proper warranty and a bit of peace of mind. Or just wait until they go down in price because they're ridiculously expensive at the moment. Chazor says, curious to know your thoughts on the Workhorse FC13. Have been considering one for a while. Okay, yeah, the FC13 is kind of like a shorter and a little bit wider, but like a floodier version of the FC12. So the FC12 is, I would say, it's more of like a tactical style flashlight. FC12. I might have the FC13. I've actually given one away. There you go. FC13, FC12. It just makes it a bit easier for me to answer your question. You know what I mean? It's a little bit shorter. Both take 18650 cells. This is the version that I got with the SFT 40 in there. Okay. These both have the SFT 40, so it's actually a better side-by-side comparison. This one produces more spill. This one produces less spill, but it throws a lot further because it's got this smooth reflector. So side switch flashlight. It's got Enduro on it as well, which is a complicated type of UI for beginners at times, unless you've got it on the simple mode, which, yeah, makes it easy. But if you're looking for something just out of the box that you're not going to have any troubles with, I'd recommend the FC12, especially if you're looking for like a long range throwy flashlight. It's a tactical flashlight, half pressed in order to get into the turbo mode as well. Okay. This one here, yeah, you've just got that side switch to operate. You've got some cool features as well, like you can make the side switch flash. What's this color? I think that's purple. Change the color or the little, see how it flashes. Yeah, there's a little customization. You can put candlelight mode. It's more the style of the light and knowing that this isn't really designed to be a super long range flashlight. It does have some decent range to it because it's got and the SFT 40 in there. You can get another version with the throwier LED. I believe it's the XHP 50.2 in there. Okay, get that one. With the XHP 50.2 if you want it. If you want more of a floody beam, get the SFT 40 if you want a throwier beam. Okay, but less light. Okay. Yeah, anyway, that's sort of like my little blurb. Hope that was okay. Josh Harper on Facebook. Sorry, I missed your message before. Josh, do all of the lights so far include the battery? Yep, they pretty much do. They pretty much all include the battery. Most of the lights I own. Yeah. Anyhow, catch you. All right. See you later, Jay Batman. Still got about 8 of you. I've got a few more lights to go through. I'm going to end this stream. I've actually been talking for quite a while. I didn't realize I'd be streaming for this long. This is the next light that I really like and I've been using quite often. AceBeam Terminator M2. And some of you may have heard of the Terminator M1, which is the LEP version of this light. This one's got a floodlight and spotlight. So we were talking a bit about before how there often has to be a compromise with lights. So if you want a light that throws really far, you're not going to get much flood. You know, it's going to be a little bit more intense. So in the hot spots, you can't really use it as much for walking. This is a different deal here. You get both. You get a spot beam and a flood beam. Okay, you just sort of switch between them two like that. And I've been finding that I've actually been carrying this one along with me pretty often. And, you know, if I compare it to, say, really standard sort of tube lights, it's bigger, right? It's certainly bigger overall, okay? But if you look at the form factor, it's pretty much the same diameter as my Workhorse FC12. So when you have it in your pocket, although it does take up space, it's a nice flat profile and it sits flush in your pocket. You don't get a large kind of bump coming out of your pocket. It doesn't take up that much width, and so for that reason I can actually carry this around quite comfortably in my pocket. So this sort of slab style flashlight I think is actually a pretty good design idea. Well, one of the criticisms I had about this light is just the ergonomics. It's a bit weird. Like, I don't know how to hold it to turn it on. Do I hold it like that, use the thumb to, that's, which seems to be the case? Do I hold it like this, press the back? Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit funny. And AceBeam have actually introduced the M2X to their domestic market, I believe, that has this sort of switch location between the flood and spot beam down the side of the flashlight instead. But yeah, this one is one of my favorite lights. It's just due to this ability to have this 2-in-1. The spot beam, I think, reaches up to about 500 meters. That's what I measured. Floodlight is super bright, triple LED as well. Okay, let's have a look. Next one coming up, X3 Nitecore MH12 SE. This here is one of my favorite 21700 cell tactical flashlights, and it takes 21700 cell, but it has a little adapter that you can put in there so that you can fit in a 18650 cell and also 2 CR123 primary cells, which makes it a really good light when you can't get hold of a charger in an emergency situation when you want to use primary cells. Okay, just make sure you don't lose the adapter, otherwise you're not going to be able to use that function in it. It's got onboard charging. It's a really powerful throw. I believe I got close to 500 plus meters maybe on this with this SFT40 in this in this host, so quite impressive. And it's almost the same size as my Workhorse FC12. As you can see here, that it's a little bit chunkier, but really, I mean, I can't tell the difference with either of these in my pocket. But this one, you get it fits a 21700 cell. So, some have noted that the tube is a little bit thin. Look at the tube. A little bit thinner, okay, in order to accommodate for the decreased diameter. So durability wise, I don't know. I haven't dropped it. I don't use it for anything too serious, but do recommend it. One of my favorite tactical lights out there. And finally, I've got a couple of these lights. They are probably the larger lights, the largest ones that I might carry around with me and use, and ones that I pick up, larger lights that I pick up more often. Nitecore P23i, and this has got an SFT70 in it. I think it's rated at 3000 lumens. Deep carry clip here as well. Only issue with this light is that it does have proprietary battery, so you can't use any other sort of battery in it, but it's a monster of flashlight, and the performance, I think, is better than a lot of my other 21700 cell lights. The step down just isn't as abrupt. You know, get a bit more sustained output. It does get extremely hot though. Yeah, but that's pretty much about it for the P23i, and of course my Nextorch TA30C Max, Nextorch just produced some of the nicest and, you know, hassle-free tactical lights out there, and they also have they provide lights to the federal police in Germany and a few other law enforcement agencies in Europe. Apparently, the lights. Marco from One Lumen says that he sees these lights in the Netherlands, often in the shops. We don't see them here in Australia, but this one's got the XHP 50.3 high. Nice. I would say this is a very light textured orange peel reflector. This isn't the type of, you know, I mean, let me show you an example of one that's a bit more textured, like that one there to the right. See? So you still get decent amount of throw, but it helps to just create a more diffused, nicer looking blend between the hot spot and the spill. These 3 glass breaking beads, do get them on the Nitecore as well, but with the Nextorch TA30C you get titanium bezel, much more durable. And Nextorch have this cool little function here that allows you to select the different modes in the tail switch. It's got 1, 2, 3, strobe mode, and just tactical mode, battery indicator in the back. Tactical mode, very simple. As long as it's in that mode, half press gives you full output, full press gives you access to strobe. So 1-step access to turbo, 1-step access to strobe. I mean, awesome tactical light. So guys, I think that's it. I've been streaming for 1.5 hours. I didn't expect to be on for this long, but I really appreciate you all being here. And if you're watching along after, if you have any like questions, final questions, just let me know. Like the video as well. If you enjoyed the stream and you got some value out of it, yeah, do me a favor, click the like button and share the video with a friend. It helps me to get my videos to more people, rather than just relying on YouTube to distribute it out for me, which doesn't always happen. So really happens, but let's just gonna give you guys a second if you have any questions left. But otherwise, I think I'm probably gonna get to sleep, guys. It's like 1 o'clock here in Melbourne, and I'm getting pretty tired. So yeah, if you have ideas on other streams I could run or other questions for later, let me know. But I actually had lots of fun tonight talking to you all and getting to meet some of you. So hope to see you all next time in another stream. I do have, if you check in the video description as well, always like links and stuff like that to all to all my like affiliate links and stuff. So if you ever want to buy a light and want to support me, there's vouchers and all that kind of stuff, codes in there. So yeah, check it out. Great. Okay, Matt, I'll see you next time. Great, thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming along, man. Appreciate it. And yeah, if there's any like flashlight, you know, fans out here in Melbourne, let me know. Meet up sometime. Thank you, Chazor. Thank you. And yeah, I'm going to end the stream now, everyone. So yeah, I'll see you next time.